Hi, Paul from Contemporary Synth here. In these tutorials, we explore the technical and the artistic capabilities of the Roland Fantom O workstation. In the last couple tutorials, we've been working with the song All Glory Is Yours by Bob Moore, and we're going to wrap that up this time. Last time we put an instrumental accompaniment down for verse 2, and today we're going to put a vocal harmony down for the refrain, then we're going to move on to a new song. I'm in the same scene we've used the last couple of tutorials. You can see the same instruments. There are three patterns in here. Pattern C is the verse, pattern A is the refrain, and pattern B is the last beat. And if I go to my song, you'll see verse 2, refrain, and the last beat. We're not going to work with the verse today, so I'll go to the song mode and remove verse 2. So my song is now just the refrain and the last beat. And now we're going to record some samples. When I go to the sampling menu, I can edit pad sample, and I recommend you do that. You can also get there from pad mode, click edit, go to sample pad, and I recommend you go to sample utility and export all the existing pad WAV files to a thumb drive so you can have them for later if you need them. Alright. I'm going to go to sample to pad and record some new ones. Alright, you'll see I'm looking at the wrong pad right now, so I want to go to bank 1. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I'm going to go to sample to pad, overwrite, and I'm now looking at pad 1 and bank 1. My sampling mode is set to input. You'll see that sometimes you're on keyboard plus input, but I don't need the keyboard today. I'm just going to be singing, and your options are mono and stereo here, and mono is fine. However, you'll notice I'm speaking to the microphone and there are no levels coming out. I have to go to input setting. I need to change my source to microphone, and I need to turn the audio on, which now you can hear. Right, everything is turned off here. I could put a master effects on here and get some reverb, which would be really cool if I were performing. We'll talk about the vocoder in another tutorial, and noise suppression is essentially a gate, so below some level it just turns the microphone off, which is good for a time that you're not singing, but you don't want to turn the microphone itself off. Anyway, I'm good. I'll go back to sampling to my pad, and I'm ready to put on the auto trigger and get going. If I hit this, then it's going to start recording from my speaking. Let me just make sure my song's right. I'm going to play to that. My part is going to be da-da-da. I'm going to play along with it because I'm not the best singer, and staying on pitch is important when you're doing multiple tracks. All right, let's do it. You, O God, all glory be, all glory forever to you, O God, all glory forever. Alright, there are three parts. That was part 1. After you record it, I recommend you normalize. Normalizing takes the loudest part of the wave and adds enough gain to get to the maximum volume, and then applies that same gain to the whole track. So it moves everything up the same without any part saturating. That's different than only moving up the quiet parts or maybe turning down the loud parts. That's compression, and that's in here too. We'll talk about that another time. Okay, first harmony's done. Let's put in the second harmony. Now I need to go to pad 2. Pad 2, input, mono. I still have level coming, so that's good. Da, 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 da. Ready? You, O Lord, all glory be, all glory forever to you. I don't see it started. I didn't turn the auto trigger on. And now I turned the auto trigger on and it started. Ugh. Alright, let's do that one again. Fortunately, it's easy to overwrite. To pad, I'm doing part 2. You, O God, all glory be, all glory forever to you, O God, all glory forever. Amen. Sample normalize. Okay. And if you didn't remember from last time, this music is available via a link in the comments that will take you to the publisher site where you can see a lead sheet with chords or the actual piano part. All right. Exit. And let's record to pad 3. Input mono. And this one's going to be ready. You, O Lord, all glory be, all glory forever. To you, O God, all glory be, all glory forever. Amen. Okay, now I should have 3 pads that I can listen to. You, O God, you, O God, you, O Lord. You, O Lord. Well, I don't think you'll be able to hear that when I'm done. But okay, now what I want to do, I have my 3 pads and I want to put them in my pattern. And I use a trick that you may have seen by now, but to do that you go to Scene Edit and you pick Pad Zone Select, and this is the zone which you would like to become the pads, and you can pick any one you want. I'll pick 16 since that's what it looks like people do. And now if I go back to my pattern, you can see that it says pad on the end. I now need to put my 3 vocal tracks into the zone. That's an interesting point too, because now that I'm here, the keyboard is mapped to the pads. And in fact, if I start from C4, C3, C2, you'll see I can go all the way up. In fact, bank 2 goes all the way up there. Bank 3 goes all the way up. It goes all the way up to bank 4, whatever that is, C4, C5, C6, C7, E7. Hold 4 times, turns them off. So this whole span of the keyboard covers all 64 pads, and you can put them in any kind of pattern that you want. Fortunately, mine's going to be very simple. I'm just going to play all 3 of these at the same time. You, O God, all glory be, all glory. All right, so the way I'm going to do that, there are lots of ways to get it in there, is TREC. So how hard you hit it sets the play volume for the sample. So I want sample 1 to be super loud. Let's hit that nice and hard, put that in beat 1. Sample 2, kind of loud, and sample 3, kind of loud. All right, so now they're in there. Let's look at this, and I know that, let's make it 10 measures long. Now I can make each of these go the whole span. All right. You, O God, and then, you, O God. That's number 2. You, O Lord. It's kind of that Lord is good because it helps you recognize the difference between them. All right, now if I look at velocities, you're going to see they're all pretty similar, and it's hard to edit them when they're all on top of each other. I'm kind of okay with that, but if I weren't, I could move this over and then see. I could turn this one down a bit, and let's do that with the third one too. Put this guy back, and then move him over a bit, and now I can get at it. Another way to edit those velocities is to go into the detail view. You, O God, all glory. I'm defaulted to the piano roll, but you can get back to that through the main menu too. Okay, so now I have my pattern, and it should be pretty good. Oh, looks like I forgot to put somebody's start back where it belongs. Okay. I could be done, except I'm going to be greedy, and I want to put some reverb and chorus on my pad. That's going to take us to this Effects Edit menu, which is super powerful. Let me turn off the microphone so you stop hearing me through that, and show you some of this other stuff before we get to there. I'm looking at Zone 16. Let's go back to Zone 1. Every zone has the ability to apply 3 effects. A master effects that applies to that zone only. So you'll see here it's on. If I could turn it off on Zone 2, and it can be on Zone 1 if I wanted. A master effects. Then this internal effects, which is for each zone you can have a different master effects for that zone. There's only one eternal effects for 1 and one eternal effects for 2, but you can decide whether the zone goes through it or not. I'll show you what that looks like. So if I say, well, let's put these back in serial. So if I take my keyboard here, and I select something for effects edit 1, like here. All right. That is now here, and if I wanted to hear it, I could set that, and now my zone 1 runs through there, but zone 2 does not. But if I put zone 2 through there, you get the same one because you can only have one choice for that, and then after that it's either on or off. Alright, interestingly, within the scene, you can set a control button to turn that on and off. And I would say, we'll go with set 1, switch 1 here. And if you look at, it's down here in the hundreds somewhere, IFX1, see the difference? Now notice it's also momentary because I didn't select this. That's really interesting. So back to the effects edit. Now you can see it. Interestingly, you can also see it here. See the IFX on and off? Because that affects every zone that's tied to it. All right. Chorus and reverb, you can affect the sends with these. And master effects, this total effects is the third of the 3, and that affects the whole mix coming out of the keyboard, and you can't turn it off for any one zone. So if I turn this on here, go to zone 2 and 3, it's on for all of them. Let me turn that off. Okay? But what I'm trying to do is put reverb on the pad. You'll notice if I go to zone 16, this is not the pad, even though I'm hearing these things. This does not apply to samples. If I want to apply effect to a sample, there's another trick here. Each effect I can actually bypass total effects, which is rare, but I can't put a separate master effect on here. What I can do though is edit the main out, and instead of sending it to main or sub, I can send it to the input bus where I was over here. Now, interestingly, when I do that, instead of putting it in a stereo channel, it only puts it in a single right channel. So instead of going left 64 to right 64, it goes from right 0 to right 64. So I need to pan this over into right 32 to make it sound right. You, oh God, all glory. All right. I can put my reverb on if I'm so inclined, and I am. You, oh God. And I can put on a master effect here. And now I can edit what it is. And here I can look through and find my chorus and kind of mess around with it if I want. You, O God, all glory be, all glory forever. I don't need to go crazy, but you. That's what I was trying to do. Okay, so now going back to my effects menu, my pad is going to the input bus, which allows me to apply a master effect. It's just one. I can adjust the pan, but not of individual samples, just the pad overall. And I can put reverb on there. Interesting, one other thing I want to show you is on this other tab, main out and sub out. This is super powerful. I use my headphones in the sub out jack and my speaker in the main. And if you switch this to like that, then the keyboard doesn't go through the main speaker, but you can still hear it in the headphones. And if you do this, it's in the speaker and the headphones. That's a pretty powerful tool. And there are a whole bunch of things that you can put only to the sub bus. So if you had a local monitor versus a front of house speaker, you can get pretty fancy like that. Okay, enough about the effects. What I think we have now is our pattern with all the stuff. Let's test it. Okay, and now I can go to the song. I forgot to mention I'm still using the spring pedal, which will start and stop the song, which is pretty handy. This is, I have my hold pedal or the sustain pedal in the hold, and I have the spring pedal in control 1. I could put an effects pedal or another pedal in control 2 and use that to turn some of these effects on and off also, which is pretty powerful as well. All right, I'm in zone 1. Let's sing the song and wrap this up. Make sure everything works. You are, oh, and I gotta watch the tempo. I've made that mistake in previous videos. You are God, all glory is yours. All glory forever. To you all glory forever. Amen. All right. Well, that was fun. There's a lot going on in this, and I hope that you were able to follow along, and I hope you found it helpful. If so, please consider subscribing. And either way, next week we're going to do a song called Live in the Light, which is a lot more upbeat, and I'm really looking forward to it. See you then.